The running back discussion is happening again, which means, yes, people are bored, which means NFL training camp is right around the corner. Let's get into it. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard all failed to get long-term extensions after being franchise tagged by their teams. The Giants paid Daniel Jones, who's a quarterback instead, even though Saquon Barkley was a big part and was the key focus of their offense last year, even at times running the Wildcat. This made Saquon Barkley upset for clear reasons. He was a key part of their offense, was a key main point of them making the wild card and beating the Vikings. And, of course, he's going to want his money. And in my opinion, he deserves it. There were reports that they were only $1 million to $2 million off. And now there's reports that Saquon could sit out till week 1. There's really no precedence for this. The only thing we've really seen was Le'Veon when he sat out the whole season, ended up signing the big deal with the Jets, and that didn't work out for the Jets. A thing that has really hurt running backs as well is when you have someone like Isaiah Pacheco last season with the Chiefs, a 7th-round draft pick, steps in, takes over duties. And we've seen this across the NFL. 1,000-yard rushers, or you plug and play them. And teams just are not wanting to spend the money. They'd rather draft a running back in the mid to late rounds, ride that guy till his contract's up, franchise tag him for a season, and then let him leave in free agency. I think the next best case for the running back getting paid will be Nick Chubb. He is a large part of what that Browns offense does and fits Kevin Stefanski's scheme so well, especially in a division like the AFC North. And then you have guys like Derrick Henry, who is on his second contract, has battled some foot injuries, but relatively stayed healthy and carries that Titans team. And then you have someone like Christian McCaffrey, who has been paid. And while, yes, the 49ers were a good team before, their offense really kicked into a different gear after they traded for McCaffrey at last year's deadline. And then there's Austin Ekeler, who's a touchdown machine. Fantasy players know this. Was wanting a new contract. Chargers told him no. Went out look for a trade, and there wasn't one. And now it just looks like he's going to spend this season in the Chargers, and it looks like it will be his last season in LA. And then you have Aaron Jones, who gotten paid and restructured his deal this offseason, just like Joe Mixon, who had been paid and got his deal restructured in Cincinnati to stay. And then you have Dalvin Cook, who after a very good season in Minnesota got released and is still out in the open market waiting to see who his next team will be. NFL teams just don't see the value in running back anymore, as it has really become the most easy plug-and-play out of guys out of college. Whether you take someone in the high mid rounds, towards the end of the draft, or even undrafted guys like Phillip Lindsay. This graph has been going around Twitter, and while, yes, there are a lot more running backs than kickers, it just shows that just the position is not paid anymore. Teams aren't wanting to pay it. They'd rather spend it on other skill positions or an extra linebacker or an extra edge rusher rather than pay their running back when they just go and either draft one or get one as an undrafted free agent. And you can see the change right around the time of the rise of PFF, who essentially, if you're not a quarterback, they don't value you. And being the fan of a team that has paid the running back position, I'm in the camp of just pay your good players. If you value somebody, you can pay them. You can pay running backs without having to go on a 4 or 5 year deal like you would your quarterback or an edge rusher. You can simply just do a quick 2-3 year deal with an opt-out after 2. Heavy money in the first year. So if they do get hurt, it doesn't bite you in the end. Look at Aaron Jones for an example. While, yes, playing with Rodgers helps, Aaron Jones is a big part of what that Packers offense does. Everyone knows about Derrick Henry, and where would Tennessee really be without King Henry? And then, as previously stated, the 49ers were a good team. After they got Christian McCaffrey, that offense kicked into a different gear and unlocked a lot for Kyle Shanahan, and it helped out a young quarterback in Brock Purdy. And I think this tweet from Ari Mirov kind of sums it up very well. Mixon and Aaron Jones had to take a pay cut. Zeke, Dalvin Cook, and Leonard Fournette were cut. Saquon, Josh Jacobs, and Tony Pollard were all tagged. Someone we haven't gotten to yet in this video is Kareem Hunt, who is still a very solid player. Obviously, he's got some baggage off the field, but he's been a free agency all offseason. History always repeats itself in sports, especially in the NFL. So I think eventually a team will break through with a high-priced, high-tagged, high-valued running back, and then we'll start to see the change where teams will start to pay the running back. Look at the Bills for an example during the Josh Allen era. They've drafted Zach Moss, Devin Singletary, and traded for Nyheim Hines at last year's deadline, trying to help stabilize that run game so Josh Allen doesn't have to do so much on offense. Having a running back would do so much for the Bills and open up that offense. I think I would not be surprised if that's a landing spot for, like we mentioned, Kareem Hunt or even someone like a Dalvin Cook that just helps stabilize that run game and also give you something in the pass game as well. They seem to be really high on James Cook, who they drafted last year, and looked fine in little reps that he did get last year. And they also signed Latavius Murray. So they are trying to find just anything in the backfield to help with their offense. A good run game and a stable running back is always going to be key in football, no matter what they try to tell you. History always repeats itself in sports, especially the NFL. So I think it's only a matter of time before we are back to running backs getting what they are owed and what they are due. Please leave a like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments, who do you think is the next team or the next running back that will get their money?